Jones and Swish. Ice tray showing, ring within reach, brace for blast. Riding through the city, we built to last. Welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show, where the game runs deep, truths unfold. Grind on the field, hustle on court. Atlanta stands tall, that's real sport. Mercedes-Benz Dome, fans wild loud, ATL united. Soccer game proud through the blood, sweat, tears we roll. Every match, every game, players' heart, they soul. Georgia roots, deep as maple tree. Who's the home runs, touchdowns.
All right, everybody, you know what time it is. The Real Talk Sports Show Saturday Sports Update coming up right now.
Welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. You decided to join us here on the final Saturday Sports Update of the year, and I will also say it will be let some people we are the discontinuing this sports looking to grow. Saturday Sports Update is the last year we have on air on the guys show on various platforms. There's transition going on there as well. You guys update as time goes on. So, just how good for you guys are. We've done the Saturday Sports Update in 2024. You know, sometimes experiments don't yield the results that you want. So, Saturday Sports Update, like I said, the grand experiment is over. And this will be our final broadcast of the year, our final broadcast of this inclination. I shouldn't say inclination, this program as you know it now is Saturday Sports Update. But Real Talk Sports will be hanging around, we hope, for the foreseeable future. But we are going to be making some changes to how we go about our business. It's like anything else, you know, things change in life, things go on, and hopefully improve. And that's what we're looking to do, to improve the broadcast. We think that we've gotten like a piece of bread a little stale, baby. So we want to try to freshen things up. And so again, any suggestions? We're also looking for input from you guys, because you guys are the ones that make this show go and grow. So if you have any suggestions for us that we can do to improve the show, constructive criticism is always good. The older I get, the more I realize is that, hey, man, you can't see everything and do everything. So sometimes there's a situation where you need some input from people outside of yourself. And so, like I said, again, we would appreciate any input that you have for us that might make the show go well. And who knows, there might be a prize for you if we actually adopt some of the things that you talk about here for us on the show. So again, we appreciate you very much, and all those of you who have decided to watch us and check into us on this broadcast. Well, one of the things we want to do before we get started, we want to offer condolences to the Gumbel family. We just found out earlier today that one of the great voices of our time in terms of sports, and really just a great guy, Greg Gumbel, has passed away at the age of 78. Greg Gumbel and Bryant Gumbel, I think, are the epitome of the hashtag Black Man Can. These two men for the last really almost 50 years have blazed a trail in sports that is unprecedented from a family. I think the only people that can really, I think, as far as the magnitude of what they've done, uh, can impact, which is the Albert family. Mark Albert and his brothers and sons, what they've done over the years in broadcasting. But I think it is really a wonderful testimony and certainly a legacy that will not be forgotten. The Gumbel family, like I said, Greg Gumbel, unfortunately passing away at the age of 78, and his brother Bryant Gumbel. Both of these guys really at one point were, every time you turned on TV and looked at sports, and then later in other aspects, the Gumbel brothers, one of them was smiling and doing their best to bring you exactly what was on the scene, what you were seeing, maybe what you weren't seeing. And so appreciate the work that Greg Gumbel did over the years. Certainly, it's inspiration for me and many others that have gotten into the broadcast field. And really, for me, an inspiration to let you know that you can stay in this thing up until the time you leave here. Because as I now reach senior citizen status, a lot of times thinking, but this is a testimony to me that the Lord can use you even in your senior years. But like I said again, my condolences to the Gamble family. Again, we appreciate all the things that Greg Gumbel did in his years on CBS and on other platforms. So again, our condolences to the Gumbel family. Greg Gumbel passing away at the age of 78 after a spectacular and brilliant career in sports broadcasting. We'll shift gears here and take a look at all the other things that are going on in the world of sports. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention down here in Atlanta, and I'm going to make some adjustments on my video. I know those of you who are watching and saying, dude, you have kind of black spots and things going on your face here. We've been using our virtual setup here for our virtual background, and it's acting a little goofy right now. So we'll try to get that set and see if we can get things situated here, because it's looking buckle out right now. So we're going to try to fix that. Anyway, in the world of sports, I don't know if you guys have been watching here in Atlanta, but the Hawks have been balling out. And the other night, they had a game for the ages, as the Hawks were down as many as 21 points in the third quarter, down as much as 16 points in the fourth quarter with less than 10 minutes to go. And the Hawks pulled out an unbelievable victory against the Chicago Bulls, a team that they have struggled with mightily in his last couple of years. The Bulls have been kind of a problem for the Hawks. It seemed to have been a matchup problem, and one of the problems that the Hawks have had throughout the year, and it surfaced again against the Bulls, is their inability to stop the three-point shot. But it didn't matter, because in State Farm Arena, the Hawks had an incredible second half. Like I said, one for the ages. The Hawks scored 85 points in the second half, including 50 points in the fourth quarter, as the Hawks pull out a victory at home, 141-132, I believe the final score was, against the Chicago Bulls. And they continue to play some of the best basketball in the NBA over these last month or so. The Hawks have won 10 of their last 12 ball games. They have gotten themselves over the 500 mark, and right now have themselves firmly in position to go into postseason play and to avoid the dreaded play-in game, which they have been saddled with the last couple of years. So Hawks playing lights-out basketball, and it's really been a sum of the parts. Usually, a lot of times it was a situation with, it was all about Trae Young and what he was doing. But really, for this team, has it been Trae Young? Absolutely. But really, more importantly, what has happened is this team is really playing like a team. And that's what I think we're seeing right now, that Trae Young has help from various places. It seems like, at least for now, because we've seen a little bit of this before, it seems like for now that there is a chemistry that we have not seen this Hawks team since they made that run to the Eastern Conference Finals back in the 21-22 season. We're seeing that same type of synergy. We're seeing the team, like I said, really playing like a team. And really, more importantly, what we're seeing here with this Hawks team is something we have not seen in the past, which, the Bulls game notwithstanding, a better defense. This Hawks team
one of the things it's always suffered from is inability to defend anybody. Now, again, like I mentioned, they're still having some problems from 3-point range, but this team overall has really thrived defensively. And we saw the beginnings of this last year when they brought in DeJounte Murray. Even though Murray is gone, I think that he really rubbed off on Trae Young, especially the concept of, even though you might be undersized, even though defense may not be your forte, there is a way to play defense using the strengths that you have to get the most out of who you are. And I think that's really has been ratcheted up with the addition of Dyson Daniel. And speaking of DeJounte Murray, DeJounte Murray was traded to the New Orleans Pelicans. And if things continue to pan out the way they are right now for the Hawks, this is going to go down as one of the greatest trades in Hawk history, and could be Atlanta sports history. To kind of go back and take a look, DeJounte Murray was traded to the Pelicans, and what the Hawks received in return were Dyson Daniels. They also received Larry Nance Jr. and a couple, I believe, 2 first-round draft picks. Well, Larry Nance Jr. and especially Dyson Daniels have paid off huge dividends for the Hawks immediately. Dyson Daniels on pace to be on the All-NBA defensive team and has an outside shot to actually be in the top 3 in terms of defensive player of the year. Dyson Daniels has been a spectacular find for the Hawks. This guy at one point was averaging close to 5 steals a game in the NBA. Unbelievable his play, and unbelievable how his energy at the defensive end has really panned out for the Hawks in terms of giving them a whole different persona. This is a Hawks team now that kind of reminds me a lot of the team that was around and it went to the Eastern Conference Finals for the very first time under Coach Bud. If you remember that Hawks team, one of their trademarks is that although they were undersized in terms of, most teams, they had a situation where they were able to play defense using the skill sets they had. I like to call it active hands. One of the things that Dyson Daniel and, like I said, DeJounte Murray before him brought to the sensibility of the Hawks is to keep their hands active, always poking, always having themselves in the passing lane. And although, like I said, again, you're playing against bigger players, they were able to get a lot of deflections and steals. And that's what you're seeing a lot here in this current Hawks team. So I don't know if they can maintain the run, but right now this Hawks team has looked great. Like I said, again, I just want to update the record. They actually are 6-4 over the last 10 games. But the bottom line is this Hawks team is over 500. They're currently in 7th place overall, which I think will still have them in the play-in game, but they are certainly much better overall than their record, I think, even plays out. Let's go to social media here and take a peek. Nathan Lewis, what's going on, kind sir? The guy that does a great podcast on his own. Check him out on LinkedIn. Check him out in various places. Nathan Lewis. And also I want to give a big shout out to our man, Sullivan. Sully, what's going on? A guy that makes a great pizza. Appreciate you, Sully, for joining us. And he said, yep, it's good old Shucky Ducky Sully is in the building. And appreciate all those of you who didn't tune into us on Facebook. Appreciate those of you who watch us on the various platforms we share. Like we share this podcast on several Atlanta Hawks pages, also on Atlanta sports pages. So we appreciate all of you that join us that way. And then also we want to say again, thank you to Gary Booker on the Phoenix Entertainment channel. You actually can watch us on the big screen, which may or may not be good. You watch on the big screen and see us on Roku. What you do is go to Roku, add the Phoenix Entertainment app, and you'll find us broadcasting to you right here and right now. But yeah, man, the Hawks look good so far this year. Like I said, they're ranked number 7 overall. But here's the big thing. Although they're in 7th place, they are only 1 game out of 5th place. That's right. They're just 1 game behind the Milwaukee Bucks in 5th, and they're just 2 games behind the Orlando Magic, okay, in 4th place. So I guess what I'm trying to tell you is this Hawks team has got a lot of potential to be able to make a deep run into the playoffs, even how they're currently constructed. Now there are some things they could use. I think they could use a real bona fide big man or rim protector. But like I said, this team has shown that they're resilient. This team has shown that they can play defense from time to time. They're still, like I said, struggling against the 3-point range. But more importantly, they have an exciting brand of basketball that they're bringing to State Farm Arena, and State Farm has been rocking. Okay, I'm actually rocking when you go down there to check out the Hawks. And if you haven't done that during the holiday season, matter of fact, they have a game today at 3:00. Hopefully, we'll be able to get down there and get a little coverage of that game. But yeah, the Hawks balling out, baby. Well, speaking of balling out, we want to give a big shout out to our sponsors who are balling out. And so we're going to take a break here of the Saturday Sports Update. We'll be back with more of it in just a moment. Don't go nowhere. Thank you, and thank you.
Looking for a vehicle? Come to Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We're a family-owned dealership that's been serving the Atlanta area for over 40 years, offering an unbeatable selection of new Fords, Lincolns, and pre-owned vehicles. Enjoy our exceptional customer service and great financing options tailored just for you. Visit us at 6790 Mount Zion Boulevard in Morrow, Georgia, located just 20 minutes from downtown Atlanta. Call us at 678-364-3979 or visit online at allenvigilford.net.
Coming up next, it's the Real Talk Sports Show, bringing you great sports talk with perspective. Now, here's our host, Jonathan Simmons.
Hey, we're back here again. You are listening to the final Saturday Sports Update of the year and also the final Saturday Sports Update. We will be moving on to do some things a little bit differently. But again, the Real Talk Sports Show, good Lord willing, will still continue to exist. But we're going to be making some changes because change is always good. And we are looking to update and upgrade what we do in terms of covering sports and also some other things that we do outside of sports. So again, follow us anywhere on social media at Real Talk Sports, the number 7, and you can keep up with what we're doing. Also, as I always tell people, if you have a great sports story, if you have something that you think we should cover, man, hit us up. Hit me up. I'll put up here on the screen for those of you who are watching, and I'll mention to those of you who are listening on WIGO. Hit me up, 678-410-9833, or send me an email, jsimmons@realtalksports.net. And that's the letter J, SIMMONS at realtalksports.net. Well, we talked a little bit about the Hawks, another team here in Atlanta who's making some noise, finding themselves back in the middle of the playoff hunt is the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons made a huge change. They said basically the Kirk Cousins era do be over, at least for now. Yeah, it's over. And they have finally brought in the much heralded rookie, Michael Penix, to come in and take the reins of the Falcon offense. And they got themselves a dominant victory over the New York Giants, 34-7. And so now the Falcons turn the page on a very expensive chapter in Falcons history. For those of you who remember, Kirk Cousins was signed at the beginning of this year to a 4-year, $180 million contract with approximately $100 million of that money guaranteed. What that means simply is whether Kirk plays, doesn't play, gets hurt, whatever, the Falcons got to pay him that money. Now, this looked like a great idea for the first 9 games of this season. I should say really about the first 9 games of this season. Falcons jumped out to a 6-3 record, had a 2.5 game lead in the NFC South, and it looked like the Falcons just playing pretty much the same way they played the first part of the season, would cruise into the playoff with a home game and be in position to possibly make a deep run into the 2024-2025 NFL postseason aggregation. But shockingly and suddenly, Kirk Cousins' play literally fell off of the cliff. This man who was in the top 5 in the NFL in every category, touchdown passes, yards, all of a sudden turned into believe it or not, a worse version of the quarterback play the Falcons had the year before when they had Marcus Mariota and they had Desmond Ridder. All of a sudden, Kirk Cousins couldn't seem to find his way into throwing an accurate pass anymore. He became an interception machine as all of a sudden Kirk Cousins in the course of 5 games had only 1 touchdown pass and 9. That's why I count them 9 interceptions. And the Falcons went 1-4 and suddenly found themselves in a position where they were on the outside looking in and behind the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. To the rescue, the left-handed gunslinger by the name of Michael Penix Jr. As the Falcons said, hey, we need to make a change if we want to still have a shot to get in the postseason play. So Michael Penix Jr. made his debut here at home against the New York Giants. He did not disappoint. The rookie did exactly what you needed to do in terms of righting the ship. And the Falcons defense helped immensely with not one but two pick sixes, one by the guy who really is the MVP of this Falcons team and has been the last couple of years, Jesse Bates III. Once again, suckered another NFL quarterback into throwing the ball in beautiful 55-yard interception return. And Matthew Judon finally paying off. Free agent signing has really been a disappointment in terms of rushing the passer, but he has improved lately and got a tip ball and got his own pick six as the Falcons again ran away in that game against the Giants 34-7. And the big thing again about the Michael Penix era is not that he had some huge game where he threw for 300 yards or 400 yards, but he was very efficient. That's the best way we can describe Michael Penix play in his initial foray. He was very efficient. And more importantly, he played what we call a clean game. What do we mean by that? What we mean is that no unforced errors, no interceptions. Well, there's one on the books, but that was thanks to the bumble and fumbling of Kyle Pitts, a guy that we're going to talk about throughout the season, a guy who really is on the borderline of being considered a bust. But that's another story we'll talk about. Michael Penix overall stats for the day, 18 of 27, 202 yards, as I mentioned, just one interception. But what you notice if you watch Michael Penix was the way the ball came off his hands. It came off with some zip, came off with some authority. And the young man looked like that he had full command of the playbook and knew exactly how to matriculate the Falcons up and down the field. Now, of course, the other thing that helped him was the running game, as usual with the Falcons, was right on point, led by a guy who I will admit I had some doubts about at first, but now is turning to that quote-unquote generational player that the Falcons claim to be. Bijan Robinson, 22 carries, 94 yards on the ground. He also had two more catches for 9 yards in receiving. So once again, Bijan Robinson had over 100 yards of combined offense for the Falcons. Falcons as a team rushed for over 100 yards. They actually rushed for a team that's 127 rushing yards, not quite up to par for Falcons standard. But at the end of the day, they found themselves in a position where they did exactly what they needed to do against a very bad New York Giants team. Now, they have their work cut out for them, ladies and gentlemen. They are in the position now where they can, with a win this Sunday and a win next Sunday, the Falcons are in. No matter what anybody else does, Tampa Bay, the Washington Commanders, it really doesn't matter because they're in already. They clinched their spot with their unbelievable win against the Eagles last week. But the bottom line is the Falcons win the remaining games they're in. But the big challenge is, can they be the Commander team, which ironically is coached by former Falcons head coach Dan Quinn, a team that has been must-see TV all year long with their Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Jaden Daniels being the best version of the Heartbreak Kid. This guy seems to have the ability to shine in the biggest moments. And last week was no different as he led his team to a game-winning drive and threw a spectacular touchdown pass with about 10 seconds remaining as the Commanders knocked off the Eagles and clinched their spot in postseason play for the first time in a couple of years. So the Falcons are going to have their work cut out for him because Jaden Daniels is the type of quarterback that normally gives the gives the Falcons fits. He's mobile. He's an accurate passer. And more importantly, he is a guy who's clutch. So the Falcons really need to try to do everything they can to limit the number of touches that Mr. Daniels has. And then when he does have the ball, they have to find a way to stay in their lane. Because he can hurt you with his arm and with his legs. And one of the things that he can do is he can bait you into coming up to try to stop him on the run, and has the arm and field presence to be able to put the ball into the hands of receivers who are now open because you have left guarding them. So Falcons got the work cut out for them. Big key is going to be, can they run the ball? Stats show that the Commanders are one of the worst teams in terms of defending the run. They're giving up over 130 yards rushing per game. So the Falcons are going to need to run the ball early and often and find a way to pound away with not only Bijan Robinson, but also I think a guy who would be a big key in this game is Tyler Algiers. Now, Algiers average in the last few games has not been the best. Like last week, he had 11 carries, only 22 yards. But you can use him, I believe, like Bijan Robinson, not only in just running the ball, but also, on those outlet plays. He had one catch and only picked up 9 yards, but it was a brutality about the way Tyler Algiers runs the ball that I think when you're playing a team like Washington, and as you get into the playoffs, you need that pound and ground effect. For you old head Falcons fans, almost like back in the day when you had the Thunder and Lightning of Lynn Kane and William Andrews, both guys who, interestingly enough, are in the Falcons Ring of Honor. These two guys were just punishing. Falcons had, then those years, they would have over 2,000 yards rushing per year as these two guys banged away at NFL defenses and had the Falcons of the late 70s and early 80s always in contention to do big things in postseason play. So I think that this is what the Falcons of today must do. They're going to have to make sure to run the ball, pound away at this Washington offense. And then if they have a lead late, find a way to not give Jaden Daniels the ball back, because we have seen that this guy is a dangerous man, especially late in the game. So hopefully the Falcons do that. Let's go to social media as we wrap up here. We have Miss Donna Jones. She says, shout out from Washington Commanders country in Maryland, D.C., and Virginia. She said, we are waiting for you, Falcons. And rest assured, I mean, it is a lot of excitement going down in D.C. because they haven't had this type of team that, into the playoffs for a while. So the energy is there, very similar to about a decade ago when Robert Griffin III blazed on the trail. Jaden Daniels is that and then some. So definitely those of you in the Washington, Maryland, what they call the DMV area, as District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia area, kudos to you guys. But we're looking to try to take care of our business. Y'all already in the playoffs. Okay, so don't be greedy. And so we're looking for the Falcons to post a big victory on Sunday. And like I said, again, it's really a must-win for the Falcons. They don't want to be in a position where they fall back and lose the edge over Tampa Bay. Right now, although the teams have the same record, the Falcons have the edge because they have the tiebreaker, beating Tampa Bay not once but twice. So, again, big shout-out to Falcons, big shout-out to the Hawks, and also a big shout-out to all of you who have followed our program throughout the year as we had this grand experiment of the Saturday Sports Update. Like I said, again, this will be the final broadcast of the year, the final broadcast of Saturday Sports Update on WIGO. But we will be making some changes. We will be returning back to WIGO with the Real Talk Sports Show, hopefully live on the air again on Tuesdays, as we did for years and years. And we hope to have also the ability now for you guys to call in and interact with us. You've been doing it so much on social media, and we appreciate you and all your comments there. But we're looking to get back in the studio from time to time so we can have those phone lines lit up as we talk sports as only we do. All right, guys, especially one of the things that we do, we want to make sure that the minister lets you know that, especially in this season, if you don't know Jesus Christ, your personal Savior, please, man, please, sir, get to know him today. He is our Savior. He is our Lord. He's the only way by which you get into heaven and avoid that nasty place called hell when you die. And plus, you can have a wonderful life well lived here on this planet while you are yet alive. All right, everybody, we hope you had a wonderful year for 2020-24. We still have a little bit left. And we hope and pray again that your life and all of your endeavors go well. All right, until the next time we get back together again, you know how we do it. We simply say God bless you and have a wonderful rest of the day or evening, whichever may apply. So long. Take care.